Let's move on to the second way that you've made money through your podcast. Now, you mentioned mid-roll ads for the podcast as well, but let's just talk about how you do host-read ads. You said you typically do 3-month contracts. This was in the green room, so the listener probably didn't hear that. But you typically do a 3-month contract, but at least one of your people has been with you for a year or more. Can we go into that?
Sure. So one of the podcasts called Data Driven Compliance is sponsored by Kona AI, a data analytics product provider in the compliance space. So I reached an agreement with them for them to sponsor that podcast for the entire year, which they have done. And they were so pleased with that, they actually bought a banner ad on the website. So that's why they are a sponsor of the website as well. They found that was just, I literally have 500,000 touch points a month in terms of social media and my podcast downloads. So I have a distribution channel for them that's as broad and as wide as they can possibly get through my network. And I guess that was probably the biggest insight, was when I realized I don't have a podcast something, I have a distribution network. And if you have a distribution network, you can distribute whatever you want through it.
Cool. 500,000 touch points a month. What does that mean?
That means downloads, hits, impressions, social media, engagement on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, newsletters, emails, my podcast network site itself, the Compliance Podcast Network, my hosting platform, Megaphone, and then the 15 different channels that I distribute, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, etc.
And how do you charge for all of this? Like, you mentioned that you have Kona, who's doing the banner ad, and they're sponsoring one of the podcasts in your network, the other compliance podcast. How do you decide to charge? Is it based on your listenership? Is it based on the 500,000? How do you charge, and like, how can we translate that to our listener who's a podcaster and wants to monetize with host-read ads?
So, I didn't really use any metrics to come up with a number I charged. I just went as high as the market would bear. So I kept increasing it until people said no.